Well, welcome to GEM Level 2 for Product Management, Service Management, and Leadership as a Service. The idea is that hopefully you've gone through your team forming with your management team and you have a regular set of norms, working agreements, cadence for your work, and are really ready to start diving into developing your vision and your roadmap. The preference is that you would develop this prior to launching any delivery teams. This is because we want those teams to be as autonomous as possible. And the way to do that is to provide them with the clear vision and roadmap so they can align their work and decision making based on where the organization is trying to move. So if we look at the definition of agile, it means to be quick and well coordinated in movement, nimble. The thinking here is if you're well coordinated and you have a great enablement pipeline, then that allows teams to be nimble. They can make decisions at the local level. They can break things that need to be broken in order to achieve the goals that are set out in the vision and the roadmap. So we'll look at the vision and the roadmap today in this training and help you get an overview of what level 2 is about for service management teams, product management teams, and leadership teams. So let's talk about seeds. A seed is an autonomous, self forming team. Basically, when you plant a seed and give it the right environment, it does what it needs to do. It grows. You don't have to direct the seed, you don't have to tell it what to do. It knows what to do and it does it. If the environment's not right, for example, if you try to grow a cactus in Washington State during the winter outside, you probably won't achieve that because cactus require a different type of environment. Oftentimes, we plant seeds, as in our teams, but we don't give them the environment in which they can grow. And unfortunately, many times the teams stumble and falter, and people don't recognize that they weren't given that clear vision. Harvard Business Review says that lack of clarity creates a few problems. One problem is it has teams frustrated and not knowing what's going on. That creates a environment of lack of safety. People are often in fear. They're not sure if they're doing the right thing, and they're not sure if they'll be punished for what they're doing. If you feel like your teams aren't able to communicate and that there's an environment or a culture of fear, you might want to do these simple steps that I'm about to share with you. They're really not difficult. It's just oftentimes we just don't do them or don't know to do them. The other thing that you might see is people who are really well intentioned, running off in a variety of areas, doing different things, wanting to help, wanting to do the right thing, but wasting a lot of precious energy spinning their wheels, doing things that don't really align to the corporate goals or the vision and roadmap. So it's essential for your teams to have a way of working that is well coordinated so that they can be nimble. So this level is all about creating that right environment for your teams to be that seed that can grow into a flower. So let's just introduce you to GEM Level 2 Fluency for product managers, service managers, and leaders. So you can see here, we've broken the organization into 3 value streams. The first value stream is product delivery. These are the people that deliver products to the customer. They're the most important value stream to protect and serve. If they quit delivering value, we won't be in business. Most of our products in this current environment are digital, so we need to support that team. Service delivery is everybody outside of those teams, those team value streams that are supporting them. So these are your leaders, these are your shared services, these are INO, these are any organization that supports the product delivery team. And then finally, you have the enterprise and strategy. They define the strategy and they give the vision and roadmap so that the teams know exactly what needs to be done, or at least have a very clear understanding of how the work that they're doing impacts a higher level goal. So let's start with vision and roadmap. So if you look here, here are the 5 practices for your delivery teams, and here are the 5 practices for your management teams. I'm sorry, 5 levels. The idea is that your product team or your service team start a little bit before your delivery team so that we can develop team clarity. Once there's team clarity developed, then the next step will be the outcomes. What are we trying to achieve? So that's where we're at now. We're trying to set our level 2 vision, roadmap, and metrics. When the team starts to launch, hopefully this will be in place so that they'll be able to have a well-defined backlog that they can use and they can deliver against. So let's look at vision and roadmap. There are 10 practices within vision and roadmap, and we'll cover those in just a moment when we look at the canvas. Basically, what we've decided is it's a little bit difficult for people to see this in this format. They really need to see and understand how these 10 practices work together. And for that reason, we've developed the product and services vision and roadmap canvas. So I'll go back to PowerPoint and just share what that canvas looks like. So we have on the bottom the value stream. It's important that everybody understands the value stream. What are the family of products and services or capabilities that we want to deliver to our customers? They may be internal customers or external customers. So if you're a leader, for example, your customer is all the people that you're supporting, that you're leading. You want to give them the most support that you can to ensure that they can be successful in delivering the products and services to the customers. So we want to establish this value stream. We start from the right. We call this right focus. Start from the results. Be really clear on the results that you're trying to achieve. What are the people results? What are the things that you want to do that'll help improve the environment in which your people are working? Help that flower grow. What are the customer results? What value do you want to drive to your customer from doing this? What are the societal results? And a lot of times people think this is a bit airy fairy, but if you think about just a simple thing, Richard Branson, not too long ago, put up on LinkedIn that they have now green red paper plastic bags for all of their airplanes so that they're looking at helping the environment because they can then recycle those trash bags and they're made out of recycled material. Why would he post that? Because that helps drive his business outcomes. It's a societal outcome. People want to see that your business is doing things to improve not just customers' experience, not just your people's experience, but improve the world in which we live in. And this is becoming increasingly more important with the younger people coming up. They have a much more focus on this, and this is something that we should always consider. And then finally, business results. If we align our people results, our customer results, and our societal results, we should see the business results that we want to achieve. So always be very clear on what are the results that we're trying to achieve. And then also make sure that there are really good feedback or listening loops so that you understand how you've done with those with implementing those results. So here are the results. And always make sure that you have with your people, your customers, society, business, feedback loops to understand how you then align your leadership to new understandings. So the next step is to align your leadership. You want to align your leadership on how they're going to achieve these results. So a lot of times we tend to silo organizations and say, we'll work on one part in this part of the organization and we'll be duplicating some of the same effort in another part of the organization. If we look at it from a value stream perspective, we understand the results we're trying to achieve, then we identify who are the leaders we need to align to those results. It might be across teams, it might be across silos, but form that group of people that can align to achieving those results. So once you get that, then you want to align them on the strategy. Let's align on a strategy, the process, and how we're going to measure our progress before and after delivery. It's extremely important that this alignment work is done and that the teams all understand how this is happening before you even begin to implement anything. And then finally, what are the products and services that we want to offer? Those will change over time, possibly as we get our results, as we measure them, and then as we improve. But we want to make sure that we're all crystal clear on what are the things that we want to deliver. And when I say deliver as a leadership team, for example, that would be what initiatives do you want to deliver that will improve our ability to give our people a good environment to be successful in, improve our ability to deliver great results to our customers, improve society, and improve our business results. These results are the responsibility of every single person in the organization. So it's important to define what that is. And then finally, we call this bit the leadership. This is this strategy, the process, measures, and products and services, the enablement pipeline. You can see the enablement pipeline goes a little bit into the delivery side because there needs to be an agreement on what we're going to do and how we're going to deliver it. If we have a strong enablement pipeline, we'll see work flowing through the system. What we tend to see is most organizations just focus on this most right-hand side and just think about what they can deliver without thinking about results or any kind of alignment or initiative scope from the beginning. It's crucial that you have this in place in order for your teams to be as successful as possible. So once you have this foundation set, the next thing you do is look at initiative scope. What are the things that we need to have in place and do in order to scope our initiative? The next part is to plan the results. So once we identify what the scope is, we need to plan those results. We need to do the high level planning so that our teams can pick up this demand and provide us a supply. And the supply is to deliver the results. So that's why we have a truck here. We finally want to be able to deliver them. Unfortunately, a lot of organizations only live in this part of the canvas. And you'll see some of the problems will be around not having a great backlog, not being able to make local decisions, not understanding how to prioritize what work is important, no mechanism to provide feedback or listening loops. And you'll see frustration and just a lack of their ability to buy into the process. If you don't know what you're trying to achieve, it's very difficult to put a lot of energy into being buying in or even wanting to put effort into developing or initiate or deliver any kind of initiative. It's extremely important that we go through this process and go through the vision and the roadmap and the actual delivery. So if we start on the initiative scope, this is where your vision is and your roadmap. And we just look at what's the vision. We want to provide clarity regarding current state problem to be solved, the solution, and the desired results. Oftentimes, we use the left side of an A3, which is a lean tool, in order to do this. What happens sometimes is people go forward and just start delivering without thinking about what they want to deliver. What happens then is people will just run off into different ideas, different ways of working, trying to come up with different solutions without some kind of coordinated result. So the vision is important to understand what the problem really is and where we want to land. Then you have your roadmap, which is the next most important thing. Not only are we going to understand what we want, but then break that solution down into a roadmap that provides clarity around priority, the desirability, visibility, and feasibility of the increments, and iterative measures against the results. So we want to make sure that we develop a roadmap that's doable and that we're measuring the effectiveness of it along the way. Next, we look at constraints and dependencies. Have we identified all the constraints and dependencies, and have we figured out a way to ensure that when we do roadmap planning, we're not building dependencies and constraints within the vision and the roadmap of our initiative? So it's extremely important that we handle these here at this stage rather than here at this stage. If we're pushing things that have dependencies and have constraints into delivery results, it will impede their ability to implement the work that we're pushing in there. So we need to make sure that we, as leaders and managers, remove those dependencies first. This is extremely important with product management. Many times, product managers only give a few sentences about what they want to achieve, and it's really left until development, until we're actually committed to doing things before those are looked at. And then we try to manage them at that level. This just slows the system down, creates a lot of friction and a lot of noise. It's the responsibility of the leaders, the product managers, the service managers, and leadership to ensure that these things are looked at and managed as much as possible in a proactive way. And then finally, scope is so important. Understanding what is part of what you're trying to do and what is not, clearly not part of what you're trying to do. Also, understand what are the preconditions, what needs to be in existence, what needs to be established prior to even thinking about doing this work. And the post conditions, what does good look like? How do we know when we're done? What are our expectations? We need to identify that, and we need to identify that for every single piece of the product of the roadmap. Each step in the roadmap should relate back to the impact we're making on the goal. That helps us define our post conditions. What impact do we expect this to make on the goal? That helps us measure what we're trying to achieve. The next step is to plan results. So here we have minimum business increments. So this is taking your roadmap and breaking it down into minimum business increments. These are small feature sets that actually provide value. The reason why there's a present sign here, a present icon here, and a heart is this is where we see the results. If we deliver this piece of functionality, this piece of an initiative, this piece of a shared service, we should be able to measure the value that we've brought. So this is where the efficiencies and the effectiveness are tied to. We want to make sure that these are things that can be delivered at a minimum to produce some sort of value. That's how you judge whether it's a minimum business increment. We also use minimum enterprise increments for shared services or the service delivery stream. Those terms are basically interchangeable in lots of different organizations. But the idea here, the main takeaway is the highlighted word, bolded word, minimum. Always think about the minimum thing that you can do to bring a result. Next, we break those into features. So we look at the minimum business increments. What features do we need to break them into in order to deliver something that can be tested along the way? It doesn't mean that we'll see the end result, but we can test it. We can test it through a variety of ways, internally and externally. We can deliver an initiative from the leadership perspective. We can deliver an initiative to help people have more flexible working hours, and then look at what are the different things we want to do, deliver one feature, and test to see if what we delivered actually worked. And if it did work, then we continue with that minimum business increment and those features. If it didn't work, what are the things that we need to change in our backlog, in our roadmap to make sure that we're delivering the right thing? And that goes into your roadmap cadence. Once you deliver the roadmap, you continuously improve it from what you've learned along the way. So your final end results feeds into improving your roadmap, but also your incremental steps feed into improving your roadmap. So there should be a cadence around reviewing your roadmap. What's the team delivering? How fast are they delivering it? Do we need to change our timing? Do we need to change the things that we want them to do based on the feedback we're getting? The saddest part about people implementing agility is they don't flex this muscle. If you're not testing along the way and adjusting what you do, you're really not leveraging the agile frameworks and the value you get out of an agile transformation. Finally, once we've done all this, now we're ready to start delivering those results. Now your team has the clarity they need. You need a regular release cadence, or some people call it PI cadence, to ensure that your team can pick up the work that they need to do, that they have full clarity, they understand what needs to be done, and they can go and do the work. This is where we want to land finally. We don't want to start here. This is where we want to land. So this is how we put together all of our level 2 practices. If you want to see them in one page, you can see them here in one page. If you like to just work through them in the knowledge base, you can see them here in the knowledge base. Each and every one of these is in the knowledge base and is fully explained. I've given a brief overview, but there is a lengthy overview in each of the practices. And you can see basically what the expectations are, the acceptance criteria, what it is, how to do it, why to do it, and critical success factors, along with a variety of visuals and tools that can be used to help you be successful. And if you're interested in more training modules, this is the first training that then is supported by several train the trainer videos and modules that we have to help leaders develop their vision and roadmap. So these modules are available for train the trainers, and it kind of helps them develop the roadmap, their vision and their roadmap along the way. So these are available if needed, but what we want to do is help people be successful, meet them where they're at, and give them tools that they can use to truly be successful and help their teams be successful. So, welcome to level two. We hope that you enjoy the ride. We're always here to help. And yeah, just check in with us and we'll provide the support you needed. Thanks for attending and look forward to seeing more of you.